Hello. Right, cool. So, I'm here going to talk about something geeky. I'm going to turn this on. Right. So I was here in September, and when I was here, I was talking about how you can get multiple browsers and them talking to each other and create this kind of like super interface, which was kind of cool or whatever. What we're going to talk about today is like taking one of these browsers and observing the outside world, right? Like so. There's a really crap picture of Flower, and I'll get to why that's so crap in a bit. So what we're going to talk about is ping pong balls and web browsers, and more specifically using front-end browser technology to do rudimentary image recognition, right? So here we've got a picture with a ping pong ball in it, and what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and use a browser to pull out the position of that ping pong ball. And so our first way of doing that is to split that image into red, green, and blue channels, right? And underneath we've got these histograms of the pixel intensities. And like since this is geeky, it's like I realized the other day that you can kind of think of these as a Fourier transform of the wavelength of the light, which is kind of cool. Being more geeky, that's actually incorrect in a way. So we can filter these. Based on these intensities, we can pull out the parts of the image that fit in within that histogram of the pixels. So the green kind of takes up quite a big chunk, and there's hardly any blue in the ping pong ball. What we can do is we can now take the intersection of those three filters, and we get this, right? So we've kind of found where the ping pong ball is. We can take the average pixel XY coordinate. But what you can see here, we've only got a kind of like thin sliver of that ping pong ball. And the reason for that is because we're working in the red, green, blue space. And as the color gets lighter, that becomes problematic. Okay. So there's a really awesome 3D model thing here that explains about, basically, red, green, blue is this color space. X, Y, Z is RGB. And as a color gets lighter, it traverses that color space diagonally. And that becomes a problem, which is really easy to see if this slide works. It becomes a problem as you're trying to threshold them, because your bounding box needs to get bigger as you encompass those pixels getting lighter. And a way to solve this is to convert that, to change color spaces and think of it as HSB or HSL. And to do that, you kind of take that cube, rotate it on its top, and then draw a cylinder around it. And then once you're doing that, you can filter it much more effectively and use up less of the color space to. This is so much easier with a diagram. I don't know why that didn't work. Right, so this is that image in filtered on hue, saturation, and value. Right, so you can see that, yeah, it's kind of different now. So what we can do is we can do that same thresholding thing and pull out this image on there and on here. And now we've got, now when we take the intersection of these, we've got a much better match. And we've also used up less of our color space to do that thresholding. So it's going to be a bit more robust, right? So cool, we've done that. Now, I've got a part that might not work, and I think I'll leave the lights on. Lighter, cool. So that's with an image that's just loaded into a web page, right? So we're just kind of drawn out in the canvas, pulled out the image data. But there's other ways for us to get image data from web browsers. And one of those ways is to use a get user media stream and to retrieve. So here, this allows me to grant access to my camera, and when I accept that, we've got a video of me. Hello. And then here we've got the live H, S, and V histograms that get generated. You can see these red bars are like choosing a thresholding window on it. So I was going to use the ping pong ball, but I've got this, which is kind of pink, so we can use this. So basically, you can see that it's matching that pink spot. And when I train it on that, we've now got image tracking on video, which is kind of cool. And now that we're able to do that, now that we've got that, we can actually do stuff like plot those points on a picture, so we can kind of draw. Ping pong balls are a lot better for this, actually. And also, because this is just a web page, we can alter properties of that web page, like altering the CSS transform of this video element. So here, as I move up the top and bottom, that's a bit dodgy. And we can also transform it in a different way and do a translation. So it's because this is shiny, that's why. Okay, if I hold it that way. We can do a translation, so this is a slightly different way of moving it around. It's kind of cool. And because this whole presentation is just HTML and CSS, we can actually use this to move to the next slide. All right? So, at Christmas time, we built this in October for our Christmas party, where we played Pictionary together. And this is it. So we've got a projector at the end, and people are drawing pictures on that. And you can see Vicky here on her phone, like any phone that was connected, you could make guesses on. And from the first talk this morning, it's like, there's this thing about like technology isolating us, right? But something that's really interesting about this, although we're all using the web and using our phones and web browsers, it actually, that allowed us to, that augmented our kind of social interaction with each other in a really kind of powerful way. It's awesome. Really good. This is it from the other view. That's Carl drawing a stocking. Joe gets stocking with an X. And this is how, so we've pulled out the part of that does the image recognition and put it up on our GitHub. This slide's for Graham because there's not enough code in this this morning. So this is basically setting up a web worker, getting the user media, and you get this callback where you get the XY coordinates of each point that it observes. What's nice about this is, so it's just front-end web technology, but because that browser is connected to the web, it allows the data that we're collecting to be shared in such a broader and awesome way, right? So I've got this other part, which I've not really worked out, and it was actually broken 45 minutes ago. So this is using that same library on a website, which is what I do. Right. So when you visit this site, you get that same calibrate page, and I'm going to use the ping pong ball this time. So what we can do is, right, so we can draw. And what you can see on the left-hand side, anyone who's visited that page can see that, and that's actually kind of, the points that are getting drawn on the right-hand side are actually going across to Ireland into a data center, into a database, out the other end, and into another web node, and back down on another web socket to that other browser. And what we can do is we can, if we go down to the start, oh, shit. Oh. Right, if I go to start here, and start drawing a shape, and then go down to finish here, then that shape has now been saved. There you go. Right. Okay, cool. So that's been put in a different database and persisted. And now anyone who visits this page can now see that and add their own. So we built that this week. Cool. Right. So that, so literally, Carl and I coded this up the other day, and it's called bobbler.benjaminbenben.com, and I've added a bit of link. I chose the name Benjamin Ben before I realised that having a long Twitter handle was a bad idea. I think I don't get that many replies because of it. bit.ly/b-bdd. So yeah, go and check that out and draw some stuff, and it'll appear. And we might set this up later as well, depending on how that goes. So I'm Benjamin Ben. I work at October, as does everyone here. No, everyone who's working. We hold JS Oxford is one of our things that talk about JavaScript, which is all this is. And I wrote at the bottom, so probably no one can see, but Carl Wood did the CSS for that Bobbler site. So yeah, he does that. Cool. Thanks.